Hey, Soup, how you doing? I was on the fence. I don't know if I really want to stream, but we're here already, so now I have to. I'm doing alright. I was just in a full-fledged panic thinking that I missed Pleasant's stream, but did he not stream today? I mean, we had things to do, but... we're in the same boat, huh? 6,500. Yeah, I don't think he did either. I checked YouTube and it's last week's stream still, so... let's give these guys a little bit more. No, I don't think he did. I'm happy about that because I don't think I've missed one of his in ages. Oh, I knew these gates were going to be an issue. I may have to delete the gates and just use the cloth doors in the winter. It's already tight enough in there. The gates do not help. Speaking of tight, this pasture has created a wicked steep little hill here. Awfully steep side hill by the manure pit there, unfortunately, but and right here is trouble. So there's a collision with the stream. Unfortunately, this is as close as I can get the fence. And even if I wanted to get it closer, the way I had to position at the corner of the pasture is right there anyway. So I would have been putting the fence across the river. There was no good option, so far it looks like it's usually just one cow that gets out. I'm alright with that. So we've gated this all in and penned it in, so basically that entire barn, and once I move the beef cows, oh, why can't I open that? Oh, because it opens on this side, that's why. So it's penned in a way that all the barns can kind of roam free is the idea. It's a little bit obnoxious opening gates everywhere I go now, but I was looking at that. Must be something in the XMLs. And then as I was building this too, I didn't realize, I mean, I've got white picket everywhere else, and there always was white picket, so it's not the end of the world. But there is barbed wire fence with those white posts. That would have looked so much better around the actual pasture itself down here. But that was a lot of money. I'm not about to rip up all the fencing and start over. Oh, weird. wonder then. I mean, Alma's grass has always been awesome, so maybe Alma would be the same. I know I brought the mower into the game, but I haven't bought it or anything in this save. I still have the 0 turn, but... My B-flock kind of blows realism out the door here, so if you want to close your eyes, feel free. As I dump a bunch of feed on the ground next to the shed, and all the cows are happy as can be. Oh, it blows it on Alma too. Alright, well I guess I'm sticking with the 0 turn then. So I got a couple augers, new augers. These ones don't need a PTO, unlike the little John Deere ones. I'm questioning if they're going to be tall enough to be able to put seed and fertilizer into that giant AGCO Momentum planter. Probably not. Like I said, feeding cows every day is just a whole lot of gates opening and closing. And I was hoping that that pasture feed point and the milk point is close enough to this barn that all the milk would just go to the barn. But it looks like it does separate it into 2 different milk points, unfortunately. So the plan is tomorrow is April 1, officially planting season for the corn, right? Corn. Yeah. The vast majority of my land is going to go into corn. I don't know. I think, I was trying to map this out. I think this big field is going to be the only one that gets beans. And I mean, all these are barley. Barley. Barley, barley, barley. This is all grass. So it's going to end up corn, 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 corn. A lot of cornfields. But I'm going to be silaging a whole bunch of it. I don't know that I'm going to be shelling. I'll silage as much as I can hold. And shell maybe a little bit of it at the end. A lot of corn. And then to keep with my gates theme, this door has to stay closed because technically the cows could get in on the big door at that end and just walk straight out and be on the run, so. Oh, I just gotta delete those gates though. Hey Logan, how you doing, buddy? I feel like I was gonna delete that gate too, but I don't remember. These ones for sure. Not the whole barn though. Okay. Yeah, because in the winter time, if you close this up, it closes the gate. And that, so that should be fine. I did plant this into grass again. So we'll let them quote-unquote graze, since I don't have any option for that. And I could always use the herdsman stick and move them into the B-flat barn there, the calving barn, and mow it if I'm desperate for bales. But today is going to be about getting ready for that planter. I need a good seed tender truck. I've got the semi, I need to buy the trailer, so I'm gonna go sell off a bunch of my dry corn. We got a lot of dry corn. Well, there it shows 0, but here we have 227,000 liters. It's still 61,000 liters to dry. This thing is so slow, it's stupid. And the current price isn't terrible. 1,700 and 18 is the usual max, so we'll take it. $2 million rock truck. That's gonna be a blast to drive around, isn't it? So the new Wilson trailer is down at the other grain bin farm. Big old Caterpillar. That's awesome, dude. So I'm guessing that's more or less stays in the yard. You're just moving stuff from one place to another within the work site there. Or do you take a beast like that down the road? Hey Benny, how you doing? To the crusher within the quarry, yeah, so everything's within the quarry with that one. Doing good. Doing good. I have to be good today. Short stream, probably midnight-ish. My youngest is turning 3 this weekend, so tomorrow's a big zoo day. The DOT approves of the new rig versus the tandem superior end dumps. Should actually check if the dried corn prices are decent. Where's the beans at? Yeah, they're not ready yet. Close to $4,000 on those. Hey Jeremiah, how you doing, buddy? Welcome, welcome. We've got one day to get everything prepped and ready for planting here. So I'm coming down to town. We're going to hopefully fill that train full of dried corn and ship it off to Sedalia. Medicine Creek action. How does one go about turning off farm sim before 10 o'clock at night? That seems very odd to me. Oh, and I forgot about this. I have the two plowed fields. I want to bring this big fella through those at some point today. Get those knocked down a little bit so they're not so rough. Stitzer, yeah, that one's gonna be that's gonna be a good one. Dude, I map jump enough as it is with the minimal maps I have. I could never. A PC with you guys would be so sick of me. One day I'm here, the next day I'm here, then I'm over here. Now I'm back at Westby. Straight up shit show. I do need a PC. Someday. I'll prioritize it someday. This thing's so much nicer to drive without the twin trailers on the back. Honestly, I'd go bonkers right now to have that trailer that Sim was showing on Loma to be able to dump both of these at the same time. It's always driven me nuts that it won't let you toggle both. Like, it makes no sense. What if I get a PC and my abilities are just trash and I need to go back to console to make anything remotely cool looking? Just can't handle the flavor, the power. Oh, now you got me thinking. Now I gotta look. 22.95 with my fat ass inside the trailer. It wouldn't let me switch while the front one was dumping though. All it had was the option to stop overloading. We'll try again. Let's see what it does. Would make me very happy if I could though. Otherwise we're going to be here for a couple hours. Maybe not though. How much is left in here? Just 97. Nah, even if we can, it's just 2 more loads. I probably need professional help anyway, Logan. There's a few screws loose for sure. Some are missing. Some were never installed to begin with at birth. Oh boy. So I've used that one in the past as well. I've used it quite a bit in the past. Some grain cell points don't like it though. I know Bloomfield, the grain cell, the train point there, you can't overload into that. I've never understood why. Any other trailer will, but not that one. Front. Yeah, see, it takes away the option to select the rear. Stop overloading is the only. Bummer. That damn hamster. I wondered because that one in Bloomfield, it's short, so the semi is hanging off the backside and it's got quite the hill to it going up and in. So I feel like it must push it almost too low. It doesn't hit or collide, but something about it is goofy. And of course, my current play through, I still haven't even gotten to the point of sold crops. On the train anyway. Still just had that one harvest that I let wither. Let's see. I really just want to make enough money to get that seed tender trailer. Which at $1,800, I think that'll be more than enough money for that. So I'll leave whatever's left over in here. There's still, 60,000 liters of wet corn to go. This dryer is so horribly slow. Watching a preview. It looks rough. What do you mean? I'm not a productions guy per se, so I don't think I would ever even consider it, but that root crop washer is kind of interesting. Dump your potatoes in, clean them up, sugar beets. But the idea of having a giant warehouse on one of my maps just makes me cringe a little. I'll take my bulk fill stuff, not pallets upon pallets. Oh, for sure, it definitely is a big old warehouse simulator. No thanks, I'll stick to farming. Speaking of which, let's go. Get this train coming. Oh, here he is right now. Speak of the devil. Get over here, buddy. It's kind of upsetting to me that they didn't give you the option to hire a worker to drive your train away for you. I mean, they let us throw 9 hours in the ditch and go all crazy, but a worker can't plop down in a train and tell it to go 50 miles an hour across the map. Wonder if that's something that Celebuki could put into the game, or if it's a Giants deal. Alright, we're gonna leave that there for a sec. I've dabbled in a little pallet simulator. Mostly with eggs. Can't remember what this train holds, but I think 228 is going to come pretty close to filling her up, is it not? I bet it will, won't it? Go with the 2 grain carts first, and we'll put any overflow into the open. Should be a decent payday. We're not going to fill her up completely though. $75 maybe? Yep. Oh, 76. It'll be interesting. I know, like in this update, he made the train sell point prices just a little bit better than they were. So I wonder if it's going to end up like when I played on Edgewater. I feel like the train was always the best point, so like I just always sold to the train, because why would you sell anywhere else if it's not going to get you as much money? So far that seems to be the same situation here. Like the train has always been the best price that when I've looked for basically every crop type. Got our barley fields. Train right go-to for everything. Everything went to the train. Price was better, and I feel like that whole elevator setup was sick. There's the new pasture. Looking real schmexy. There we go. $440,000 pretty much. I think that'll buy me the trailer that I want. Right, that is cool. Granted, I can't charge myself as well or as easily. There's mods and stuff where I can take out deductions daily, but I've never looked into how much it takes out if it's just a couple hundred. Like, not very realistic. Alright, so that was plan A here. Get that tender. Yeah, that's how I've usually done it in the past. I suppose you gotta find that right thing, like find that piece of equipment that cost you $2,000 to lease. That makes good sense. It's not an exact science, but it's basically the only, other than the mod, for the automatic deductions. Anybody heard from Pleasant this evening? I was basically in a panic thinking I missed his stream. But he didn't stream, unless YouTube is hiding it from us. Oh, good to know. I won't even mess with it then. I said I've looked at it a couple times, but meh. Oh, and I messaged him too, but sorry, trying to read my phone. Don't look at your phone and drive. Yeah, no, nothing. Hopefully, yeah, you gotta sleep when the little one sleeps. This trailer, I don't know, it's a little glitchy at times. I'm surprised they haven't fixed it, since it is a Giants mod. The hoppers are all goofy, so when you're loading a hopper, I'll have the auger, there's 6 individual hoppers. If you have the auger, like, over the second hopper, it'll be filling the first. So it's like the fill zones and whatever are goofy on it. But it is a really cool mod, considering it's a Giants, a really cool piece of equipment. Considering, I mean, it's always been in the game, it's that number 2 auger trailer. So here's the new moo cow home. Living their best lives, eating their own shit, because I spread manure in there. Is it a PC? I don't remember seeing one that was released. Oh yeah, these augers are going to be a problem. So, these are those new-ish augers that don't need PTO. I don't remember when they were released, but I've noticed there's something goofy. Yeah, the pasture. When I get in, when they're under this bin, it flips me under the ground, so prepare your eyes for white and ridiculous. Oh, when I get into the semi first. And then also the... Oh wait, hey, I get to come above ground again. Hey-o. Just gotta raise the auger up and you can come back up. I think that's still gonna collide with my stack. Alright, underground we go again. But I thought these ones are slick because you don't have to have a tractor driving it, not PTO driven. They have their own electric or gas engine. Oh, I do know. Yeah, same thing, but instead of the front 2 hoppers, it has the platform where you can put like liquid fertilizer or herbicide, whatever you'd want to put. I don't know why you'd put herbicide on a seed tender, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. I wonder if that one's any better. Well, see, now it's normal though, it's just in the front. Maybe they fixed this with the patch and they just didn't put it in their notes. This auger is very slow though. and it's dumping on the ground under there, but we're gonna close our eyes to that. We'll just go like this. Get out of the trees. Someone using tape, like I couldn't get it to take before. I'm not sure what you mean, Sue. Pushing that auger with my stack, aren't I? I sure am. Oh, take lime. Yes, it did take lime. So this one I've got loaded up with 69,000 liters. I went and got, I think I only got 2 truckloads of seed. And then I'm probably going to be in trouble here. I've only got 4,900, but I have my productions doing that for me. So I don't have much digestate, but I've got that set up where I can turn digestate into solid fert down here. It's at a huge loss. I mean, it's 1/4. So for every 1,000, you're only getting 250. So I failed in setting myself up. I should have kept a bunch of that. I did not. And honestly, I don't even think I got enough seed. I'm probably better off just filling up this tender truck. Pierogies and kielbasa. No, I'm not a big, not my cup of tea. But it's one of those things, maybe I've just never had any that's been cooked really well. Or made well. Are you still not feeling well, Soup? Man, this thing's been kicking your ass. Ooh, potato bacon, that does sound good. Now, the problem I'm gonna have is it gonna start filling seed from the back? No. Oh, that was just ready to go. Hello. Hello, fertilizer. That explains it. Yeah, last night it just zonked the hell out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go buy some fertilizer, but 2, maybe even 2.5, man. I feel like my kiddos have had this forever ago. They finally passed for them, but try some soup. Some soupity soup. Damn cannibal. Oh, the old hot toddies. Yes, my wife's grandfather swore by those. Hot toddies are just an aggressive shot of blackberry brandy. Alright, we're just going to ditch that in the yard. I need to get these 2 fields cultivated down. So Today we'll be ready for some seeds. I was telling Soup earlier, I don't think anybody else was in here yet. It's going to be a lot of corn this year. Corn as far as the eye can see. I think this is going to be the only field that gets beans, this monster. And everything else is corn. So it'll be corn, corn, corn. Corn in this monster. Corn and corn. And we'll be silaging a good majority of it. We'll start in the home fields here. Silage as much as we can. I should put up another silo while I still have the funds right now. Because I'm not even close to where I want to be capacity for cow-wise, and I'm already chewing through what food I had left over real fast. We need to get on a garden life here. We don't do much. We've got some super old, like, we're third generation on the farm here. And I feel like it's I think it was my wife's great-grandmother's rhubarb from South Dakota. They transplanted it here, and it's been growing ever since. So it's like a 60-plus year patch of rhubarb that produces like crazy. And then we've got a bunch of asparagus, and that was just her dad's thing before he passed away. He loves asparagus. Ooh, treat. The funny thing is I'm not a huge rhubarb fan. Neither is my wife, so eventually we're just gonna have to cut it and sell. It'd be a shame just to let it go to waste. Sweet corn lover is his alter ego. That's a bummer, the asparagus. Takes so damn long to grow too. See how my wife's dad planted the asparagus. He didn't really have a plan in mind, he just threw it in a spot in the yard. So for the first 3 years I just kept running it over with the mower, not realizing that that's where he planted it. Favorite pie? Pumpkin pie, hands down. I'm a pumpkin pie obsession. My mother-in-law makes a pie on Thanksgiving just for me. One for me and then one for everybody else. Although, banana cream pie as well is right up there next to it. But if I had to choose one for the rest of eternity, it'd be pumpkin pie. An asparagus farm, huh? The urine must just smell rank around there. Honestly, you can't go wrong with pie. Is there a bad pie? Maybe pecan, but I know that there's a lover. There's definitely a lot of people that love pecan pie. Or pecan. Uh-oh. This isn't going to work out for anybody. Climbing that pole. Costco chocolate. That sounds like a bad idea. Straight out the gate. This tractor is just so freaking wide. Did anybody ever play, is it East Vinland, New Jersey? Back in the day? I was just thinking, like, this tractor is huge on these streets, and these streets are normal. The roadways on that map were so flippin' tiny. I swear even like a 4320 felt oversized for those roads on that map. Oof, coconut custard. Oh. Oh. I had a pretty big save at one point going on there. But it was all, I had to turn traffic out, like, couldn't play with traffic. It was ungodly awful. It was entertaining though, because a lot of the intersections they would crash into each other constantly. So it'd always be pretty decent sized pile-ups. Just a boatload of cars honking at each other because they don't know what the hell to do. There is a traffic clear mod, huh? Jeez Louise. There's one saving grace, I think, for console. I don't really deal with many, I mean, it's still a thing, but mod conflicts are far less common. I've only ever had one so far since I've played on console, and that was the drawbar mod that couldn't load into any maps. But again, there's a mod for that. Wasn't that the mod assistant or whatever? Mod folder assistant? There you go, yeah, exactly. Look at the weeds in my barley field next door, isn't that ridiculous? That one was planted by the computer like right before I bought it. When I was going through and buying back all the fields that I had before I closed out of the save. And I had the See and Spray on my sprayer, and it still went through. Just the first time with See and Spray, Spot Spray, whatever, that I've gone through an entire hopper of herbicide on a field. Right, really, you just have to be smart about it. Don't go mod crazy on random sites. Much like LimeWire back in the day, we will destroy our PCs. Hey Sim, how you doing? Oh, reading chat, swerving. You posted some pics in the Discord? Oh, you sure did. Dude, that bale trailer is sick. Jeez. Oh, that trailer's sick. Everything about that setup. Yeah, dude, it's definitely got the look, that's for sure. I love that B flat that you showed, all those individual pens that you have to feed individually. Don't tell our shaft expert, but I have to drive around this field and kind of square it up as best I can so I can let Jason take over, let him do the cultivating today. A big old drill, do some seeding. He really is. I say that I'm not, but at the same time I end up squaring up all my fields so I can let a worker go to town. But it just feels so much more natural to have a nice rounded. Just takes a little time to square it. That's that Ohio in them, right? And even partially squared up, it's still going to have a bunch of leftover stuff. Your daughter starting to feel any better, Sim, or are you feeling like you're in for another rough night? Oh, good deal, good deal. It's good to hear. Any thoughts or ideas on what the winter is going to be like on that map? I feel like that should give you a decent amount of snow up on some of those higher spots. It'd be pretty sweet if it had a kind of a random. Certain areas get more than others. I've had that happen on a couple other maps before, Benny. It's just an odd glitch. Like, depending on how he set it up and played, sometimes if you sleep through, if he's just sleeping through every day without doing much during the day, it kind of messes with it a bit. Did you get the grass figured out, how that wasn't mowing or just like deleting? That's what Stone Valley did for me when I tried to mow any meadow grass. It just completely deleted it down to a painted texture. That was kind of a bummer to see, but like you said in your stream, that's why we test. That's awesome though. Catch stuff like that right off the gate. But yeah, Benny, I'm trying to think. I don't think it was Alma that happened to me, but I know I had a map before where it snowed randomly in like August. And I think it was that, like I just skipped the entire winter. I didn't do anything. I didn't have animals. The polar opposite of what I'm doing on Bloomfield, where I'm working from sun up to sundown, cutting down those damn trees all winter long. You know, between all of us playing on Alma, there is definitely a lot of cows ripping ass. Yeah, those AGIs fit so perfectly down there too. I didn't really even have to adjust anything on the road. I just kind of widened it out at the bottom a little bit. The approach to it. It was kind of ideal. I'm thinking, as this continues to grow though, those are the only 2 bins I have. So it'll be fine if I just stick with corn and soybeans because it's like a 1.5 million liter. But Celebuki has these guys. I don't think the dryer is. No, the dryer's not active, but that looks pretty sick. So in sticking with this being the grain or the bin site farm, I'll have to figure out, probably sacrifice this chunk of field over here to add this fella in. Definitely not necessary yet, but I mean, I guess we're creeping up on that territory. Still shy of half. I think if I added this one, 30 and 16 I think would put me at, I wish there was a counter that told you what percentage of the map you owned, but I think that's got to be pretty close to 50%. I don't know if those bins came with the update, honestly, but are you talking the farm that Sim and Pleasant, like the town, the one down by town? It's that one I've never touched. I don't remember what I did on this one. I think honestly, I'm pretty sure I sold all the buildings off of it. But it's been so long. I mean, 500 hours ago. I really don't remember. I wonder if the statistic, I think I did roll over my 500 hours on this one finally. Where's the time? Yeah, 505 hours finally. That is bonkers. I feel like that's got to be the longest I've ever been on any map, I think. I had an Elm Creek when I first bought it, that I might have been close to that, but crazy amounts of money. Is that the one that Kedrick had that it was charging him? He did the 4-day months. It's charging every day as if it's a month. I'm gonna miss a strip again. Oh, that still hasn't been updated either. That's crazy. Good on Scooter for fixing it up and sending it to you, though. Hey, Jeremiah, thanks for stopping in, buddy. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Hopefully you had a good weekend. Weekend ahead of you. I feel like there's some shitty weather flying around all over the place here. It's my youngest's 3rd birthday on Sunday, so I'm hoping that the rain holds off that they're calling for. It's supposed to be a pretty crappy weekend overall. It's going to be a terrible attempt at skip rows, but we'll try her anyway. Has anybody used that Momentum planter that they came out with in the last couple of months? These fellas, the Eggcos. I've got it saved in on this one, so if I could ever get this finished up and get into tomorrow, I'll get to try them finally, but I'm just hoping they're not bugged out and crappy. I was going to do the Kinsey again, but I want something different. I've never had luck with the Case early risers. Filling them on the fly in the field has always been a big issue. And same with the John Deere, really. Hey, Fake Farmer, what's up, buddy? Welcome in. I'm gonna hope to get to planting, but I see it's already 10:30 somehow. I told myself I have to log off by midnight. I think even yesterday I managed to end up still down here at 2:30 in the morning. Yeah, I don't know that I ever have, but today I've got to stick to it. We're taking Liliana and the whole fam to the Minnesota Zoo. Hopefully the weather holds off, because I think no matter what we're going, there's a good amount of that zoo that's indoor too, so worst case scenario we'll just have to skip all the outside animals. But that's what she wanted. She wanted the zoo. And you know, any sane parent lets their 3-year-old decide what to do. I have the same problem as Lego though, is I'll be playing and then it's like, oh, I'll just finish up this job. Then you finish that job and you're like, well, you know, I gotta clean up all the equipment, and there'll be something in the yard that'll pique your interest, and oh, I just gotta do this quick. And then the next thing you know, it's 2.5 hours later. I feel like it's a blast. Like every zoo too or so, they're so different. So we did Duluth Zoo. Gosh, that was before Liliana was born. So that must have been like 5 years ago. My other two are 8 and almost 7, so they were pretty little. But yeah, a whole zoo tour would be a blast. Well, I mean, as long as they're in their big old thick glass cages, right? Still don't trust them. It's the big ones I don't trust. The pythons. The cobras. No thanks. I grew up on the bluffs overlooking the Mississippi River here in Wisconsin, so we had quite a few rattlesnakes, surprisingly. So I feel like I hold my own against snakes. I was taught at an early age to find that big old stick and whack them right behind the head and break their neck. I like them for their ability to eat mice. That's about the gist of it for me. We had one in our shed, a big old milk snake. Took me forever to find it on Google, but a milk snake in our shed had to have been, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet long. And I poked it with a stick to see how long it was because it was all curled up, and after that it slithered away and never saw it again, and I shooting myself in the foot. Now I've got mice in the shed. A little shotgun shell. It's a little overkill. Yeah, true. The shed we keep sealed up tight, so the cats that we do have here don't really go in there. Might have to consider a cat door on the backside. Illegal to kill snakes, huh? I'd have to look. I know. I hope it's not, because we killed a boatload of them growing up. Every rattler we saw was murdered in cold blood. Sam, I'd be fired for sure if I worked on your farm for leaving all these tire tracks on my turnarounds, but... No, God, no, especially if it was a rattlesnake. At that point, you're dead, man. If I see you, you're dead. Sorry. I was just looking at that like I was ready to ban whoever was in here trying to sell us something, but man, I guess my streams aren't as wild as Legos. You can't even say anal. What a bummer. Yeah, nope, I'd be fired on the first day. I'd like to say I'm surprised by that, but there's not even like a water snake or anything in Hawaii. Hawaii's expensive, man. You don't want to move to Hawaii. There's nothing there. But Alaska sounds intriguing. Cheap land. I mean, you don't have to deal with snakes, but then you've got grizzly bears and plenty of wolves. Pick your poison, right? I'm gonna hope that that's square enough for him to take off. That should be pretty decent. Alright, he'll be fine. Gets a little wonky right there on that corner, but... what else is there to do? I suppose, right? They make bear spray, but I've never heard of anybody have any snake spray. It's a really well done mod too. I mean, what mod doesn't Bueller do well, I guess? But I highly recommend it. Sounds good, looks good. Oh, that one's already off. Must be this guy. There we go. Grass fields, I feel like they say that they're ready, but they just aren't yet. No, that doesn't look full. Doesn't look quite ready. Play with no sound and no headset? Say what? Got the new pasture up. My one cow that gets out all the time, but she's alright. She just likes the fresh water. I guess we'll pull the planter out and get it ready. If I can find my tractor. Where the hell did that thing go? Oh, it's over here. It's in the shop. It is in the shop. I don't know if I can do FS without sound. There's a good chance I'd lose my mind. I don't know if this tractor quite has the oomph for this planter, but I was originally going to use the Versatile. Maybe I should just buy another one. Buy something similar. Yeah, this little girl's not going to be able to handle it. Agreed. I love to have music, Benny. It was a bummer to me that I can't. Like even playing in the background when I went to go look at the stream the next day and upload it to YouTube, it had muted all the audio. Let's see. That should be hopper 1, which has seeds in it, so this is pretty sweet. Like, it has the little green light to tell you that you're good. Seeds should start pumping through the conveyor belt at the bottom. If it's all good, you can see usually. Unless I missed it, it's already passed. Alright, so we're full up. Oh, I did liquid nitrogen on this one. Shit, here I thought I did solid. So I'm gonna have to go buy liquid nitrogen. Or just side dress it later. Hey, Fake Farmer, thanks for stopping in, man. Hey, a 3 is just a backwards capital E, right? It's fitting, it works. Alright, so Kern. kind of thought that I went with the solid fertilizer setup on that. Didn't realize I did liquid. That's a bummer. We're going to start on these fields close to home. No, I'm stopping at midnight tonight. Gotta stop. Hey, Sue. You're back. You fell asleep on the couch. Appreciate you stopping in, Fake Farmer. Phone call. At nearly midnight? God damn, I suppose you're young still. You're young. That's it. Everyone I know is passed out already. Except for y'all. Alright, we'll ditch that there. Tomorrow. No, I don't want to die, man. My wife watches a lot of murder mysteries and crime shows. At this point, I think she knows how to get away with it. So I'm not going to tempt fate on that one. Do you think this guy would handle this? That's got to be about the same as the John Deere, actually. So they can murder us and get away with it. Why else? Oh man, do I need another new tractor? That is the question. Can't afford that hog. Can't afford that hog. Yeah, I don't have problems with nightmares from her. There are some really freaking messed up episodes though that make you scratch your head and say, "What? Why the hell?" I'm like, do I need one of these? Just have another Alma, Ontario. Big old Steiger. No. T9 if I could afford it. I'll be smart and frugal and put this tractor on that cultivator when that field's done. Got one more small field. 9320. It's an option. I feel like I don't need another tractor though. I'm gonna be smart. I've got a lot of little tractors is my problem here. Cute little T5. Auger. Snow blowing tractor basically. Oof, that's a slow process, but he can keep on going. That field is going to be my only bean field. So I think we'll just sleep, take care of some cows. Where's my 9320? Does this little girl have triples? Oh yeah, she's got trips. I've never ran trips in this game. Gotta be the black tail. $15,000 just to make it one generation newer? Jeez Louise. I mean, it's not that much money, surprisingly. Just have to look. I don't remember what that planter requires. Planter requires $450. Juice. So that takes the 9320, but what about the 9620? Benny right here in the Alma. Alma's begging for it. That's 500 horse. I mean, that should do fine, right? Still pretty cheap, sub 200,000. Do we just impulsively snatch this sucker up? I mean, technically this farm started small. I had just this upper corner and a couple grass fields. I definitely didn't buy the ginormous field like Pleasant across the street. Straight out the gate, year 2. I don't know, what do you guys think? We impulsively buy this hog? We're not short on cash. Might still be a little short on power for some of the hills at 500 horse. Or do we go for the newer? I don't know how to feel about this one. Oh boy, big old floaters. Does this one have triples? Oh yeah, this one's got triples too. Depending on how wild this one gets on price, I could get down with this hog too. Don't need anything fancy in the back. Green Star doesn't mean anything to me. The versatile that I have should be able to. That's the 550. That was my intentions for that one initially. So this one's almost 600 horse. So I could just move the 8400 over to that cultivator and snatch that, but at the same time, could just bring another John Deere in. Oh, didn't need fancy, no fancy. US version. And right now I'm very, well, I guess we're even because the 8400 and the 3020. I've got two John Deere, two Case, a New Holland, and the Versatile in New Holland colors, so kind of a New Holland. And one Massey Ferguson as well. Alright, we're doing the trips. I've never done trips before. It's most of my money, but I didn't pay attention. It's not CVT trans. I don't like CVTs. Whatever. We bought her now. Oops. I guess the only tractor that might have looked even better on the planter would be the 48. Where's that hog? Over here. I'm going to crash at some point here. Not the Alice. I got that big Massey in here somewhere. This guy. 4000 series. That doesn't... It only goes to 375 horse. Never mind. No peer pressure. That 8400 is kind of I don't know, something about that mod. It didn't even pull. Was it the disc? The diamond disc. Yeah, it was struggling with the diamond disc a little bit, which kind of blows my mind. It shouldn't struggle with that hog at all. So if anything, this will just be a nice upgrade to that, and I can get a different, trade that one in on something a little better, kind of a mid-sized. Oh, I've got mirrors that are glitchy though. This will be good. Better to be peer pressured into buying a tractor than it is to let the shaft doctor work on one of your augers. She's a little too clean still. We gotta get her dirty. Way too clean, actually. It's got the dome light when you open the door. It's a nice little touch. I always like it when you, those mods that you open the door and it gets louder inside. I feel like that's always the piece de resistance. actually feels way better. Tillage on Iowa Plains, huh? I can't remember if this is what I had on Stone Valley, or if it was the... Am I rolling down the hill a little bit? No. My player's just drifting up the hill a little bit because of my steering wheel. Yeah, it was either that one or the 20 that I was using in Stone Valley. This one's nice, but there's just something about it. I don't know if it's too light. Center of gravity might be a little off on the mod. I don't remember whose that is either. Alright, we'll wake up at 5 a.m., take care of the critters. Got plenty of cows to feed. That one kind of felt like it was. I wonder if it... I can't tell if it was the... My steering wheel is notorious for drifting. Alright, the pasture is actually good. Really nobody needs food, but... I'll be curious to check on those grass fields too, because I really need some. I really need some grass bales and some silage bales. Get some more TMR going. I'm running out quick. Give the rest of this to the girls out here. Yeah, extensive amount actually. So when I was originally placing that, it really looked like it was just going to plateau off to the right side towards where I am now. My hope was that it was just going to sit, because the ground was quite a bit higher here, and just plateau this way. But instead it plateaued on the right side over here, and it sunk way down over here. So yeah, there was a lot of... I leveled it out way further out, and then did a lot of the slope tool towards here, because it couldn't get too... I've got my manure heap, which she's sleeping in, which is pretty disgusting, but the manure heap, so I couldn't let the hill get too steep. So I can't get in there with the telly to scoop that out. It was an interesting... I feel... That was during Lego's stream last night. I think I spent at least 2 hours on that pasture getting that all ready. Just constantly selling and fixing the landscape up. Thanks, I appreciate that, Benny. There's one flaw with it I can show you in the daylight, but like I said, one cow gets out, but there was really nothing I could do about it. The border of the creek, I guess I didn't realize that it had collisions, so it won't let me put the fence close to it. So in a perfect world, I would have just ran the fence or did like a barbed wire maybe through the creek to the other side where that beam goes. I get the feeling on PC it probably wouldn't have been a problem. I'm sure you can place a fence wherever you want. I never did until this save. This is the save where I was forced into getting really patient and good with it. Too tight up here. That's my big struggle. I think I need a smaller mixer wagon. Maybe that's what else I was going to do. I was going to do the... I don't think I had it in on my save yet at the time. But I wanted to use the mech fiber, this guy. I feel like that would be a slightly more maneuverable. And at the moment I don't have a need for... Is this what I have now? No, I've got this hog. I don't really have a need for 30,000 cubic meters yet. You gonna build your own, like, pick a field and go to town, or... And say the hog farm is fun if you want to be if you want to get crazy with the terror of the landscaping, because it's shocking just how steep it is, really. Are you going to use that same, okay, that farm over by town? It's nice because it's so close to town, honestly. Oh, I forgot to check on the beefers. 37, they'll be fine. I have to get those guys moved down to the other beef lots too. Alright, that's it. Might still be a little early to be getting in the field, but completely blow up all the buildings and start over on your own. It's a nice plot because you've got all those grass. I mean, it's all grass fields around you. Great way to start if you're going dairy. Even better way to start if you're going sheep. Right, that lighting is awesome. Well done. I need to do a better job of looking into what modder made all these. I never remember who's who other than the BC Bueller Versatile. But it'd be nice to be able to shout some of these peeps out. You're gonna go hogs, huh? I've never had the balls. I don't want to deal with potatoes and root crops. I honestly don't even think I've ever unfolded this planter yet. Haven't done anything with it. Activation rate is set up on its own. Seed rate. Oh, you can unfold the ladder in the back, that's cool. For sure. Big old split row. I should go get some liquid fertilizer though, so it's showing up on my mini map. Kind of obnoxious with the textures here to know where I'm. Maybe in the daylight it won't be so bad. Oh, missing some already. I believe so. In the sense that it's the same width as the other 24 rows. That drove me absolutely insane too on the console Westby. I have that planter in here too. I figured some of the smaller fields, this thing is just going to be obnoxious to get in some of my small fields. So I grabbed that and the small John Deere drill as well. I'll be curious to see what the textures, what this lays down in the two fields that have been plowed. If it's going to be a sowed texture as well. She moves over the terrain nice so far. I haven't noticed it jumping or skipping anything. I'm notorious for overlapping, so don't mind that. Oh, someone turned the light switch on. Bonus. Oh, God. In real life, that sounds like heaven. In Farm Sim, that kind of sounds like hell, not gonna lie. I'm just realizing I don't think I limed anything yet this year. That was a fail. Where was my precision farming at before? Oh yeah, and precision farming got all goofy on me. Oh, yeah, half of them don't even know. That'll be a project. But man, this thing should make pretty quick work of these fields. That's how I felt when I was setting up my console Westby. About halfway through the planting with all the small equipment, I was like, man, this field is way bigger than I anticipated. It's definitely not 100 acres. But it felt like it was taking forever, and you're refilling constantly every couple of passes. Because those contoured fields, I mean, it's long. Half the time I wouldn't even make it a full pass, and I'm running after the truck and going to get that. It'd be so much more fun in real life. No, yeah, it's a tiny capacity on that thing. Hit that tree? We sure are. Of course, I'm jackknifed like crazy over here. I do love articulateds for their ability to back up. With the steering wheel especially. It's fantastic. I wonder how many more iterations of Farm Sim we're going to get before Row Crop Ready is just integrated into the base game. I think that'd be super fun and rewarding, but also super frustrating and stressful. Let's see here. We need to clean up some HUD. Make sure we're still planting on the right line here. Get a little closer. We're definitely not on the right line here. Yikes. Right, if they ditch old gen, that would be huge. I will say though, I've been noticing more lately, especially on this save and Bloomfield, I do get laggy a lot. This save anywhere near my farm, like the fact that I've got 54 sheds packed in and they've all got bale storage tied into them and pallet storage here and there, pallet racks all over, it gets pretty laggy. So even as, I mean, it's not a slouch of a machine, the new consoles, but she would definitely be working it. I'm just surprised at how many people in the Facebook groups are still playing on PS4s and Xbox Ones. I feel like this old girl's being very generous on her seed. I mean, 79% still in the hopper, and we're probably close to halfway done already. No, me neither. Me either. I laugh because I tried recently. I threw FS19 into the Xbox X. It doesn't like it. It worked. It played. But most of the mod hub wasn't there. There was like half the mods for some reason. So I put it into my Xbox One and it was like instantaneous. Like I said, I loaded into the Millennial Farmers map because I had never played that one when I had it before. And I only got about 20 minutes into it and I was like, no, I can't do this. There's no way. It did not look anywhere near as good as this. Mod space, I hover around like 89%. I've got a lot of crap. And honestly, a lot of times it's just maps. I hold on to maps forever. I had to bring myself to delete a couple to get this update for Alma, because that was a pretty big update. I think it was 1,000 megabytes actually. I've got a ton of them, and there's not many that I feel like I can delete anymore. I've gotten to that point. I mean, I obviously don't use them all, but they're there for a reason. They all have their reasons. And the quickest way to get space is to delete an old map. like this one now I'm on the fence about. I haven't played Edgewater in forever, but it's such a fantastic map, I can't imagine deleting it. But then I remind myself I haven't played it forever. I think flex is pretty decent. This is always a rough spot in this field. Still hasn't missed anything that I've seen. Oh, there, she just took a hefty slide though. Right, I'm pretty sure there's not much left to do. I know in Bueller's stream he did, was that a month ago already? I feel like that time flies, so it might have been almost a month, when he was showing off the progress on that fiber dash trailer. Someone had asked him if they were going to be doing any updates to Edgewater, and yeah, it was kind of that same. I think he threw the like, nah, there's not a lot of plans to do anything with it. It is what it is at this point. Oh, nice. I still can't wait for that trailer. I hope that comes out. I know he's getting real close to, I mean, he's got to be pretty close to Lego in that area. I think seating's going to be right around the corner where he's going to be packed, and she'll have to take a back seat for a little while. But that's such a sick mod. Yeah, I'm pumped that Gleaner is finally... Gosh, he's been talking about that, or like FS Club has been talking about that for well over a year now, right? Like, it's funny, everybody wants the Gleaner, everyone wants the Gleaner. If you follow him on Facebook, or maybe it was FS Club that posted it, he had posted a John Deere, I think the S series, that he was modeling, and it looked really good, really complete. I didn't go into the comment section. I was tempted though to see how many outraged people were freaking out that he's working on a John Deere, not the Gleaner. Hey, there's an update for the F350 finally. It's coming. Agrotono's working on that hog. It sounds like that he is planning on fixing the brakes, the rear axle and the dually configuration, since it pokes way out to the right. There was something else that he was doing. But yeah, those were people just constantly nagging about that. When's that coming? When's that going to happen? I think if he fixes the brakes on the F350, I'll be tempted to try that one again. I don't remember if the sounds were terrible on that truck or not, but... Right, 1 year later. Dang, what happened to the rest of our friends? I know Soup passed out because he's sick still. Probably the same for Sim, except he's not sick yet. It's only a matter of time before the parents end up getting it like a week and a half later. Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised with this planter. It did slide a couple times in the field there, but the Kinsey and stuff that I used, instead of sliding, it was just missing bits, and you'd have to go a different angle or figure out a different direction. Go ahead, Duggo. Starting to wonder if we need to send a welfare check to Ohio for Pleasant. And by the looks of it, we're going to be hovering around, what, 45% of my seed used on one field. That's not bad. Oh, we're sliding again. Hey, Soup, you're alive. Are you playing FS2? I know you were on the fence. You were thinking about it. I'm a bad influence. I know if I start, eventually you might. Yeah, plows I feel like we're always notorious for it the most, weren't they? Something else, I've only ever seen you play NASCAR or Farm Sim. Roblox, huh? My son is all in on Roblox. Absolutely obsessed. Gotta honk at the train when he goes by. Never returns the courtesy though. I think that planter did great. A bunch of grumpy old bastards now, aren't they? We didn't miss much. Obviously, I was doing a pretty crappy job on the outer edge. I wonder if it'll show up better here. Or mulched a little bit. No. Sweet. One field done. I've been mulling over the idea of mowing this down and silaging. Silaging the barley. I don't know. It's not something I've ever done before. There we go. Let's see if I can find it as it's already filling. Question is... Oh, no, she's full. Sweet. Yeah, the old girl's not terrible on seed by any means. So I did do a test save and messed around with leveling out that pond and getting rid of it. Some of the foliage, it's got the water foliage, it's got the frog sounds and all that jazz in it. That stuck around and I couldn't get rid of it, planting grass on top of it, doing all the normal tricks to get rid of foliage in the ground, so I think I'm just going to keep it. And really, because of the slope on this field, it was real hard to get it to transition nicely. I feel like it always kind of felt odd driving over it was rough. So if anything, I'm going to plant some, I think I'm going to throw some willow trees around it. Rochester is where I have my giant lake that overtook my co-op. So I mean, you could call that a pond if you want to, but that one was borderline ocean. Did a horrible job getting lined up in the corner here. Speaking of corners, I completely forgot we got a worker going to town down here. How's he doing? Not bad. He didn't see. Usually they're notorious for missing stuff right here on that corner, but sweet. I don't remember, to be honest with you. Oh, there is. There's it's down in the lower, either the lower right-hand side or the lower mid. It's kind of the exact same setup as the little state park on Elm Creek. So it had the same dock, the boat. It looked identical to what's on Elm Creek in that same kind of bottom right-hand area. Unless I'm thinking of a different map, but I'm pretty sure that was it. So I've been mulling over the idea too. I need to go check the mod hub, but I swear I saw before there's a mod for like a quote-unquote tree planter where you can plant, instead of having to use the implement you put on a tractor, you can just plant like one tree at a time by hand. I kind of want to get that. I feel like that would be fun for On the Map, since we're going through the years. You know, you're not just playing for a handful of hours to actually plant a maple tree, and you'll see it grow throughout the course of a couple of years to a full-size tree. I think I want to do that. That's one thing I'll do down here by the pond, is throw in maybe some willow. I feel like willow trees would be a nice touch by a pond. Plant some willows, see those grow up, and do the same around. I mean, I've got enough trees on the farm now, so maybe the bin site farm, there's no trees up there. Kind of do it that way, plant a few elm, some oaks. I think it would just add that extra touch to see it growing kind of throughout your years here. Because what, I think I'm on year 8, so definitely nowhere near done. Be a nice little touch. I'm curious to see now too how much fertilizer I go through. Like, would I go through less fertilizer if it were in my planter and I was fertilizing now versus loading up my sprayer and driving out and spraying all these fields? Probably not a difference. But you just never know with farm sim, honestly. It's about time I put John Deere sweater back on. Scenery's not that great on that angle. Really the best farm shots too. I gotta get closer and those buildings start to render in. Alright, down to 15 minutes. It's going to be heartbreaking because I know I'm not going to be done. Would have loved to have done some grass work too. I love grass work. So no Pleasant View stream. No Lego. I wondered if he was going to jump on tonight. Wonder if he'll do a heavy hitter tomorrow or if he's going to be working the weekends up there too. Really hitting it hard now that the season's coming along. Oh, nice. That'd be sick if you got it. I'm not an emotional dude, but I feel like I almost wanted to cry a little bit when I saw that texture behind it. Like, oh no. No. How could one do that to the John Deere 7000? I think that would be like the ultimate little row crop rig. It's just so small and simplistic. Oh, really? Interesting. Somebody was smart. They knew that just about every farmer in the American Midwest had a John Deere 7000 at one point in time. I'd like to try. It'd be fun to try. Granted, you would definitely want GPS as well to keep the rows straight. I can't stay on a straight line to save my life in this game. More so the PC. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely got to take quite the rig to pull it off smooth anyway. Minutes. 10 minutes left. That's the thing too, when you find that level where you're content, you've got everything you need. It's like, do I continue to push the boundaries or just be happy with what I got? You're gonna have to run so much more milk through the thing to cool it down if you're doing that. Excuse me, sorry. Right, just keep gallons on hand. Doesn't even need to be fresh. You can get the day old stuff from the gas stations that they're going to throw in the dumpster anyway. Better yet, just put your PC in a fridge and have it set to its quote-unquote warmest setting. You just got to make sure you've got a fan in there so it's got airflow, because I assume being sealed in a fridge probably wouldn't be ideal. We could make millions. I have all these ideas. The worst part is when you see that idea out in the real world later, like, oh hey, that was my idea. Could have made money off of that. Oh, we're going in the river with that wing. Your electric bill wouldn't be happy running a dedicated refrigerator for your PC. But hey, I live in a 100-plus-year-old farmhouse. My electric bill's not happy anyway. So what's one more drain on it? Probably. But, like I said, though, if you're running it on its warmest setting, the warmest setting of your refrigerator, it should be using the least amount of energy. So, well, maybe. I guess it's the classic 6 eggs in one hand and half dozen in the other. Let's check in on Jason. Jason is done. Hey yo. Looks like we just have one goofy spot, which doesn't even look like it was plowed. The only other field that needs the cultivator is just the little fella over here. Field number 16 there in the top right. Oh, missing some. That should be real quick work with that Great Plains. That guy's, what, almost 11 meters wide, I think? I'm like missing a line down this entire pass. Oops. We make it. Thought we were gonna make it. Even now, we might still hit the thing. Yeah, I'll skip that line and then I'm overlapping here by, what, 6 rows at least? 4 or 5 rows? I've been better lately about just skipping. I'm trying to play as, like I said, I'm overlapping like crap right now, but trying to play more realistic, like, oh shoot, that sucks. But it definitely irks at you. That'll be the benefit of this Benji FS texture. It becomes a hot mess anyway once that grass starts to pop up in the corn. So if I was playing with just my controller, I used to do that a lot, and it's pretty consistent. But my steering wheel, I think I've said this before, my Xbox, it works on my Xbox, but it doesn't recognize it as a controller, so I can't go into any settings. I know like on your PC you can go in, you can adjust the force feedback, you can do all that. But on Xbox it does not allow me to make any adjustments to it. So some days the force feedback is like legit on point, snaps right back to the center and stays perfect. But I would say like at least, I don't know, probably 4 out of the 5 times I log in, it's just super loose and flops all over and it drifts like crazy. And I love the steering wheel. I would never want to not play with it, but it's obnoxious for that. It's especially easier driving these articulated tractors with a wheel. Like it's nice, I know on controller, like you can kind of finesse it to stay in a certain spot versus just cranking all the way, but on the wheel it's just so nice, like you turn, you just hold your steering wheel in that spot, wait for it. And I don't know if it's everybody's Xbox or if mine is just weird. I guess I could ask in some of the groups, but I've never wanted to. Oh, this is gonna pain me to shut her down with this much of the field left, but I told myself I was gonna do it. I gotta shut her down at midnight, so let's get this to the end. It's even going to pain me that I'm leaving it at 36% left in the hopper when I could just swing down and fill it with the semi, but let's see. One more screenshot with my dude. Oh, that's not the right place. How about right there? With the right finessing, we can make that look normal. Maybe not. Oh, never mind. Let's jump out. So, I mean, that's a pretty good dent. Not bad for one night. So then we just have this guy, and these 3 guys to go. These 2 I might plant with the 7,000. Honestly, this guy I could plant with the 7,000 too. But I'll probably drag the big beast down there. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Appreciate it. As always, you guys are legends. And I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut her down. So we'll talk to you guys, I'm sure, at some point over the weekend. We're doing the zoo early, so maybe I'll stream again tomorrow night on another until midnight type of deal. But yeah, until then, we'll see you guys later.